Stop scrolling for just a second, because what I'm about to say might completely change the way you see yourself every single time you look in the mirror. Most people think becoming feminine is about buying prettier clothes, finding better makeup, or learning how to walk in heels. They're wrong. Completely wrong. The truth is, there is only one rule that separates someone who simply wears feminine clothing from someone who naturally radiates feminine energy the moment they enter a room. One rule. Ignore it, and no amount of expensive outfits, perfect wigs, flawless makeup, or designer heels will ever create the illusion you're hoping for. Master it, and suddenly everything changes. People won't be looking at your dress first. They'll be looking at you. They'll notice something they can't explain. They'll feel that soft confidence, that effortless elegance, that quiet grace. And the best part is that this rule has nothing to do with your body, your age, your height, or your budget. It starts entirely inside your mind. Stay with me until the very end, because the final lesson is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's the reason so many crossdressers unknowingly sabotage themselves after making incredible progress. The biggest mistake beginners make is believing femininity is something they put on. They treat it like a costume that begins when the dress goes on and ends when the dress comes off. That's why they constantly feel like they're pretending. They wonder why they never feel natural. They compare themselves to photos online and convince themselves they'll never be feminine enough. But femininity isn't something you wear. It's something you allow yourself to experience. Clothing simply reveals it. If you spend every second worrying about whether someone notices your shoulders, your hands, your jawline, or your voice, your mind is trapped in masculine self-defense mode. The body follows the mind. Tension appears. Movements become stiff. Smiles disappear. Confidence fades. Ironically, the harder you try to force femininity, the less feminine you appear. Think about the women you admire most. They don't constantly check whether they're feminine enough every 3 seconds. They're simply living in the moment. They reach for a glass naturally. They laugh without calculating every expression. They cross their legs because it's comfortable, not because they're trying to impress anyone. Authenticity creates elegance. Overthinking destroys it. That's the secret many people miss because they're focused on copying appearances instead of understanding behavior. Now imagine walking into a room wearing your favorite outfit. Before anyone even looks at your clothes, you've already decided that everyone is judging you. Your shoulders tighten. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your eyes dart around looking for danger. Without realizing it, you've announced insecurity before saying a single word. Now imagine the opposite. You walk in slowly. You breathe deeply. You smile softly. You make gentle eye contact. You accept that you belong exactly where you are. Suddenly, the same outfit looks completely different because the person inside it has changed. Confidence doesn't come from perfection. Confidence comes from permission. Permission to exist exactly as you are while continuing to grow. One of the most powerful habits you can build is slowing everything down. Most people rush because they're nervous. They walk quickly. They move their hands quickly. They speak quickly. They react quickly. Speed often comes from anxiety. Grace comes from intention. Try reaching for your coffee just a little slower. Close a door gently instead of pushing it shut. Sit down with control instead of dropping into the chair. Pause before answering someone. These tiny changes seem insignificant, but together they transform the energy you project. People often describe feminine presence as calming. And one reason is that calm movements communicate confidence. Another lesson that changes everything is understanding that softness is not weakness. Many people grow up believing they must always appear tough, loud, and emotionally guarded. Then they try crossdressing while carrying those same emotional habits. They might look feminine, but their expressions remain defensive. Softness means allowing warmth into your face. It means listening without needing to dominate every conversation. It means letting kindness become visible. A gentle smile is more memorable than perfect lipstick. A warm expression leaves a stronger impression than expensive jewelry. Let's talk about posture because it's often misunderstood. Good posture isn't about forcing your chest out and locking your back into an uncomfortable position. It's about creating space. Imagine a string gently lifting the top of your head toward the ceiling. Let your shoulders relax downward instead of pulling them backward aggressively. Keep your neck long. Suddenly, your movements become lighter. Your breathing improves. Your confidence grows because your body feels balanced instead of rigid. Elegant posture should feel peaceful, not painful. Many crossdressers spend hundreds of dollars chasing the next perfect outfit while ignoring the person wearing it. They think another dress will finally make them feel complete. Then another pair of heels, then another wig, then another handbag. Shopping can be exciting, but no purchase can replace self-acceptance. The wardrobe should support your confidence, not become its only source. If your confidence disappears the moment you're wearing simple clothes, then your confidence was never really yours. Build the person first. The clothes become the finishing touch. Comparison is another silent confidence killer. Social media shows carefully selected photos with perfect lighting, flattering angles, editing filters, and years of experience behind them. You compare your everyday reality to someone else's highlight reel and conclude you're failing. That's not fair to yourself. Every experienced crossdresser you admire once struggled with eyeliner, posture, confidence, and self-doubt. Progress always looks slow while you're living it. But when you compare photos from a year ago, you'll often be surprised by how much you've grown. There's another habit that quietly changes how feminine you feel, and that's learning to notice beauty. Instead of constantly searching for flaws, every morning, instead of immediately criticizing yourself, find one thing you genuinely appreciate. Maybe your eyes look brighter today. Maybe your skin is improving. Maybe your smile feels more relaxed. Maybe your confidence lasted 5 minutes longer than yesterday. Growth begins where appreciation replaces constant criticism. Perfection is an impossible destination. Elegance is a lifelong practice. The people who seem effortlessly feminine are usually the ones who stopped chasing perfection and started enjoying the journey. They experiment. They make mistakes. They laugh when something doesn't work. They keep learning. They understand that every attempt teaches something valuable. Instead of asking, "Did I look perfect today?" ask yourself, "Did I feel more like myself today than I did yesterday?" That single question changes everything because it shifts your focus from impossible standards to meaningful progress. And here's something almost nobody admits. The most attractive quality isn't flawless makeup, the perfect body shape, or an expensive wardrobe. It's comfort. When someone is comfortable with who they are, people naturally relax around them. That comfort becomes magnetic. It invites conversation. It creates trust. It turns ordinary moments into memorable ones. The real goal isn't convincing the world that you're someone else. The real goal is becoming so comfortable with your feminine self that pretending is no longer necessary. The moment you stop trying to prove your femininity is the moment people begin to notice it. That sounds backwards, but it's true. Think about every time you felt nervous before going out. You probably checked the mirror 10 times, adjusted your outfit 20 times, fixed your wig, your lipstick, your posture, and then checked everything again. By the time you stepped outside, you were exhausted. Not because getting ready is difficult, but because your mind had convinced you that one tiny mistake would ruin everything. The reality is that almost nobody notices the small imperfections you spend hours worrying about. They notice your overall presence. They notice whether you seem relaxed or uncomfortable. They notice whether you smile naturally or whether you're constantly searching for approval. The energy you carry will always speak louder than the tiny details you're obsessing over. One exercise that can completely transform your confidence is learning to spend time dressed in a feminine way without doing anything special. Don't always make getting dressed feel like a major event. Sometimes simply wear something comfortable around your home while reading a book, making tea, watching a movie, organizing your room, or listening to music. The goal isn't to perform femininity. The goal is to normalize it. When your feminine presentation becomes part of everyday life instead of a rare performance, your movements naturally become more relaxed. You stop acting. You start existing. This is where patience becomes your greatest advantage. Everyone wants dramatic transformation overnight. They want to wake up one morning and suddenly feel completely confident. That almost never happens. Confidence grows quietly. It grows through hundreds of small moments that don't seem important at the time. Every practice session, every new skill, every mistake you recover from, every day you refuse to quit. Those tiny victories stack together until one day you suddenly realize you're doing things effortlessly that once felt impossible. Let's talk about hands for a moment because they're often overlooked. Your hands communicate emotion constantly. Nervous hands fidget, grab, point, and move sharply. Calm hands flow naturally. They rest comfortably. They move with intention. You don't need exaggerated gestures. In fact, trying too hard usually creates the opposite effect. Watch how graceful people use their hands. Their movements match their emotions. Nothing feels forced. Nothing screams for attention. Simplicity is elegant. Your facial expressions matter just as much. Many people focus so intensely on makeup that they forget their face is alive. Makeup enhances your features, but expressions create connection. Practice smiling gently instead of forcing a huge grin. Relax your forehead. Let your eyes become softer. Learn how your face feels when you're genuinely happy rather than when you're trying to look happy. Authentic expressions are impossible to fake for long, and people instinctively recognize the difference. Another lesson that takes time to understand is that femininity doesn't always mean being quiet. Some people confuse softness with silence. They're afraid to speak because they think speaking confidently somehow makes them less feminine. That's not true. You deserve to express your thoughts. The difference is in how you communicate. Speaking with calm confidence often feels far more elegant than speaking aggressively or defensively. Listen fully before responding. Choose your words carefully. You don't have to win every conversation. Sometimes the strongest presence belongs to the person who knows when to pause. Let's be honest about insecurity, because everyone experiences it. Even the people you admire have moments when they question themselves. The difference is that they don't let those moments control every decision. They acknowledge the insecurity, then continue anyway. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is refusing to let fear make every choice for you. If you wait until you're completely confident before living authentically, you'll be waiting forever. Many crossdressers become trapped in what I call the next improvement mindset. They tell themselves they'll finally be happy after losing weight. Then after buying a better wig. Then after learning makeup. Then after finding the perfect shoes. Then after improving their voice. Happiness keeps moving further away because the finish line keeps changing. Celebrate improvements. Absolutely. Keep learning. Absolutely. But don't postpone your happiness until some imaginary future version of yourself appears. One of the most powerful compliments you'll ever receive isn't, "You look beautiful." It's, "You seem so comfortable." That single sentence means everything. It means your confidence is becoming visible. It means people see authenticity instead of anxiety. Comfort is contagious. When you're comfortable with yourself, you quietly give others permission to relax around you as well. Now, let's talk about mistakes because they're going to happen. Your eyeliner won't always match perfectly. Your outfit won't always come together exactly how you imagined. You'll occasionally buy clothes that don't fit the way you hoped. You'll have bad hair days. You'll have moments where nothing seems right. Those experiences aren't proof that you're failing. They're proof that you're participating. Every person who becomes skilled at anything has a collection of imperfect attempts behind them. Another habit worth developing is becoming more observant. Instead of comparing yourself negatively to women or other crossdressers, become a student. Watch how people naturally move. Notice how they adjust their hair without thinking. Observe how they sit while waiting, how they laugh during conversations, how they hold a cup, how they greet friends, how they react when surprised. You're not copying a single person. You're training your eye to recognize natural rhythm instead of exaggerated performance. One of the biggest misconceptions is believing femininity is fragile. It isn't. True femininity is incredibly resilient. It survives criticism. It survives awkward moments. It survives mistakes. If someone laughs at you, your femininity hasn't disappeared. If someone doesn't understand you, your femininity hasn't vanished. It still belongs to you because it comes from within, not from someone else's approval. There's another important truth that deserves more attention. Your voice is only one part of communication. Many people become obsessed with sounding perfect while ignoring tone, warmth, pace, and expression. A kind voice spoken naturally often creates a stronger impression than a technically perfect voice filled with tension. Focus on speaking clearly. Breathe before you answer. Let your words flow instead of rushing through every sentence. Calm communication often sounds more elegant than overly rehearsed speech. As your confidence grows, you'll notice something unexpected. You'll stop thinking about yourself quite so much. Instead of constantly wondering how you look, you'll start paying attention to the people around you. You'll enjoy conversations more. You'll notice beautiful places. You'll laugh more freely. This shift is incredibly important because real confidence turns your attention outward instead of trapping it inside endless self-criticism. Remember the title of this video. Only one rule: stay feminine. That doesn't mean chasing perfection every second of every day. It means returning to your feminine mindset whenever life pulls you away from it. Some days will feel effortless. Other days will feel challenging. That's normal. The rule isn't about never struggling. The rule is about choosing softness, grace, patience, and authenticity again and again, even after difficult moments. The people who inspire us aren't perfect because perfection doesn't exist. They inspire us because they've learned to embrace themselves despite imperfections. They understand that beauty grows through consistency, not through impossible standards. Every day they choose kindness over harsh self-judgment. Every day they choose growth over comparison. Every day they remind themselves that becoming feminine isn't about becoming someone else. It's about allowing the most authentic version of themselves to shine without fear. There comes a point in every journey where the excitement fades and the real work begins. In the beginning, everything feels new. Buying your first outfit is exciting. Trying on your first pair of heels feels unforgettable. Learning your first makeup techniques is fun, even when they don't turn out perfectly. But eventually, that excitement settles down. And that's where many people quietly give up. Not because they don't love expressing their femininity anymore, but because they expected confidence to arrive automatically. When it didn't, they assumed something was wrong with them. Nothing was wrong. They had simply reached the stage where consistency matters more than excitement. The people who make the greatest transformation aren't always the most talented. They aren't always the youngest. They aren't always the ones with the biggest budget. They're usually the ones who keep showing up even on the days they don't feel inspired. They practice because they understand that small improvements repeated over time create remarkable results. One better habit today, one better decision tomorrow, one more moment of self-belief the next day. That's how confidence is built. Think about how children learn to walk. They don't fall once and decide walking isn't for them. They don't compare themselves to Olympic runners. They simply stand up again. Somehow, as adults, we forget this lesson. We expect ourselves to master everything immediately. The first time our makeup doesn't look right, we become discouraged. The first time we feel awkward in public, we question everything. Imagine how different your journey would be if you treated yourself with the same patience you would give a close friend. Another powerful habit is learning to enjoy the process instead of rushing toward the outcome. If the only time you allow yourself to feel proud is after achieving perfection, you'll spend most of your journey feeling disappointed. Instead, celebrate the effort. Celebrate that you practiced today. Celebrate that you tried a new hairstyle. Celebrate that you wore an outfit you were once too nervous to wear. These moments deserve recognition because they are the building blocks of lasting confidence. Let's talk about elegance because many people misunderstand what it really means. Elegance isn't about wearing the most expensive clothing or copying fashion trends. Elegance is about harmony. It's about choosing clothing that makes you feel comfortable rather than overwhelmed. It's about knowing that simple can be beautiful. Sometimes a clean outfit, a genuine smile, and calm confidence create a stronger impression than the most elaborate look imaginable. When everything competes for attention, nothing stands out. When everything works together, people notice the whole person instead of individual pieces. One mistake many people make is trying to become someone they admire instead of becoming the best version of themselves. Inspiration is wonderful. Copying every detail is limiting. Maybe you admire someone's makeup style, another person's confidence, someone else's fashion sense, and another person's kindness. Learn from all of them, but don't lose your own identity in the process. The goal isn't to become a copy. The goal is to become unforgettable because you're genuinely yourself. There's a quiet confidence that develops when you stop asking for permission. Many crossdressers spend years waiting for someone to tell them it's okay to enjoy their feminine side. They wait for approval from friends, family, strangers, or society. But approval is unpredictable. Some people will understand, others won't. If your happiness depends entirely on outside approval, your peace will always be temporary. The day you realize you don't need everyone's permission to appreciate your authentic self is the day your confidence becomes much harder to shake. Let's discuss the mirror for a moment. Most people use mirrors to search for flaws. They stand there looking for every tiny imperfection until they convince themselves they don't look good enough. Try using the mirror differently. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me today?" ask, "What am I improving today?" This small shift changes the entire experience. Instead of becoming your harshest critic, you become your own coach. Coaches encourage growth. Critics only point out mistakes. Body language tells your story long before you speak. If you're constantly trying to disappear, people notice. If you're always apologizing for taking up space, people notice that, too. Standing comfortably doesn't mean demanding attention. It simply means accepting that you deserve to exist without constantly shrinking yourself. Relax your shoulders. Keep your breathing steady. Let your hands rest naturally. Lift your eyes instead of staring at the ground. These subtle habits quietly communicate self-respect. Something fascinating happens when you begin accepting yourself. You stop chasing validation in unhealthy ways. You no longer need every compliment to feel worthwhile because your confidence isn't entirely dependent on someone else's opinion. Compliments become wonderful bonuses instead of emotional necessities. That's an incredibly freeing place to reach. Let's also remember that femininity looks different for everyone. Some people love glamorous evening dresses. Others prefer soft sweaters and jeans. Some enjoy dramatic makeup. Others prefer a natural appearance. None of these choices are more feminine than the others. Femininity isn't measured by how closely you match someone else's preferences. It's measured by how honestly your appearance reflects who you are inside. One lesson that often surprises people is that kindness enhances beauty. Think about the people you genuinely enjoy being around. Chances are it's not only because of how they look, it's because of how they make you feel. A kind person becomes more attractive over time because warmth creates lasting impressions. Beauty may catch someone's attention, but kindness earns their respect. As your journey continues, you'll notice your definition of success changing. At first, success might mean applying eyeliner correctly. Later, it becomes walking confidently in public. Eventually, success becomes something much deeper. It's waking up and feeling at peace with yourself. It's smiling at your reflection instead of criticizing it. It's realizing that your worth was never determined by how perfectly you fit someone else's expectations. There will always be someone more experienced, someone with better makeup, someone with a larger wardrobe, someone with more confidence. That's true in every area of life. If comparison becomes your daily habit, you'll never enjoy your own progress. Instead, compare yourself only with the person you were yesterday. That's the comparison that truly matters because it's the only one you can actually influence. Never underestimate the power of small routines. Taking a few extra minutes to care for your skin, organizing your wardrobe, practicing graceful movements, or simply spending quiet time appreciating yourself may seem ordinary. But extraordinary confidence is built from ordinary habits repeated consistently. There are no shortcuts that replace daily effort. Sometimes people ask, "When will I finally feel feminine?" The answer surprises them. You don't suddenly wake up one morning transformed forever. You feel feminine every time you choose softness instead of harshness. Every time you choose patience instead of frustration. Every time you choose authenticity instead of pretending. Those moments add together until femininity stops feeling like something you're trying to achieve and starts feeling like home.